Shalom, I am Rabbi Michael Panitz, speaking to you from the pulpit of Temple Israel in Norfolk, Virginia. At this time, I'd like to discuss with you the subject, what's in a name? What's in a name? 2 weeks ago, following the synagogue calendar, the Torah introduced us to Abram. By last week, again following the Torah cycle, he had left his native land of Mesopotamia and arrived as a newcomer in the land of Canaan, which we call the land of Israel. By this week, he has gained a new name, Avraham, in English, Abraham. Let's think about how these two features of what we know about Abraham interact and resonate. First, his arriving in a new place where he dealt with the powerful and with the majority culture. And second, his adoption of a new name. We don't typically connect these two themes, but in fact, they provide a lens for understanding issues of identity, self-esteem, and minority status. In Jewish history, styles of naming, being assigned names, and changing our own names are all indices of our journeys. Traditionally, when Jewish identity was bound up with being a member of the Jewish community, a Jew was known by first name and father's name. Saadia, son of Yosef. Moshe, son of Maimon. Yochevet, daughter of Shlomo, and so on. For our people, the modern era of history began with the countries of Europe jettisoning the medieval model of the state as a collection of corporations or estates and claiming direct authority over all the citizens living within its borders. At that time, typically the 18th century, governments mandated that Jewish people receive surnames. That's when and where our family names come from. Governments named us, recorded those names in census rolls, and used the census to tax us and to draft our sons. Our names then are an index of who was claiming power over us. Move forward by half a century or so, leaving the ghetto and hoping to make it in the modernizing but only partly tolerant Western world, we Jews adopted new names, European-style names. Chaim became Heinrich or Henri or Henry. Avram became Albert or Alan, and even for a while, Adolf. It brought us some measure of acceptance. But then, with the rise of anti-Semitism in the late 19th century, our very acculturation to Gentile norms, including norms of naming, triggered hatred and fear, as if we were some sort of an alien race of invading body snatchers. In this country, the United States, we Jews developed a myth of the name change at Ellis Island. According to this myth, a tired or bored immigration clerk wrote what he heard instead of our genuine name. But careful research has shown that no such thing happened. The clerks did not make up names. They checked names against already compiled lists provided on the ship manifests submitted to them. We were the ones to change our names. Think of the movie The Jazz Singer, 1927. No immigration clerk forced Jakey Rabinowitz, the protagonist of that film, to adopt the stage name Jack Robin. That was his own choice, the better to make it as an American. Our grandparents and great-grandparents made those changes because they understood that while America was more open to Jews than were the countries from which they'd fled, America was not genuinely multicultural. Today, with anti-Semitism from both left and right on the rise, the insecurities of the pre-World War II generation of Jewish immigrants are sadly relevant. In contrast to this sobering and even depressing history, the name change in the Bible of Avram to Avraham, recounted in the book of Genesis, is about Abraham's development along his distinctive religious path. He was not trying to curry favor with the powerful or with the majority. He knew himself. He defended himself when necessary. He negotiated skillfully with princes and local councils. He found a way to exist in an alien society, remaining a stranger and a sojourner, but dealing successfully with those he encountered. In last week's Torah portion, he refused an offer of booty by the king of Sodom because he did not want to become the vassal of that king. Abraham prized his independence. In this week's Torah portion, Abraham acquires the rights to the well of Beersheba from the king of Gerar. And Abraham finds it acceptable to live in that land for many years, all the while following his own distinctive pathway in worship. In next week's Torah reading, we will see Abraham acting in mastery of local law and custom, buying the cave of Machpelah and the surrounding field as a burial spot for his deceased wife Sarah. Abraham is the consummate blend of insider and outsider, savvy in his interactions, but ultimately his own man. Abraham's life story contains many lessons. One of the lessons that speaks directly to us today is about naming. Strive to develop your name so that it reflects your connection with God. The values you want to live by and the values you want to pass along. The version of yourself that you want to be when you are at your best. God said to Avram at the beginning of this saga, "I will make your name great." That blessing came true. May we live in such a way that it becomes true for us as well. Amen.